Guess what? It's raining, it's raining. We are in Madeira. We are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and what an ocean it is. It's ferocious, it's big, and it's wet. And surrounded by all that big water and wet is a lot of weather, and we're stuck right in the middle of it at the moment. So welcome to Madeira. We're going to do a random video again. It's going to be stop and start, drive and stop, stop and start. We're just going to drive around in the rain.
Because the plan was for today, they meant to be given good weather, so that's why we've got our hats and everything. We meant to be doing canyoning today, but guess what?
Yeah, we're supposed to be sliding down waterfalls in wetsuits and ropes and stuff.
Scrap that.
But yeah, that's what we're supposed to be doing, and in all fairness that would have been really good to do, but even you can't even do that. And coming up the road just now, I mean, these roads over here, we've just left our apartment, which is closer to sea level, and we're now at the top of a mountain. And in fact, I'll even give you a height while I'm talking to how far we've just driven up, because it's insane. We're in the clouds. There's clouds over on the left hand side over there, but I've stopped because there's a bit of a viewpoint. I just want to give you a bit of an insight to how high we are. But while I'm doing that, let's just get my compass up, because I keep losing everything. All my apps seem to be moving, but I know where they are, I just can't find them. And let this reset itself, and I'll give you a height of where we are. But these roads are insane. They just go up in the air and they switch back and turn, and you're driving up in town. I'm in a little manual drive car, and it's first and second gear all the way up the hills, isn't it? But even the walls are weeping up there. There's water coming out of the walls. There's water coming out of the ground. There's water coming out of everywhere at the moment. So yeah, we're in a red weather warning. All the walks, all the hikes, everything's closed. Marta's getting it up on her Facebook app, and it's coming up and saying everything's closed. So we're just literally we're going to drive around, take you around and show you a few sites. There's a couple of viewpoints, there's a couple of things like this, and in all fairness, this would be quite a nice vista photograph. It's pretty awesome. It's not something I see every day. But yeah, it's going to be random, so bear with me. Hopefully I can get you some photographs. So we're not very high. I thought we're higher than that. We're only 438 meters. Okay, this is not a epic place. This is not an epic tourist location, but who cares? Just look at that view. Look at that. That is astonishing. We are up in the clouds. You can see the clouds rolling over the top of the hills up there and whipping down. It is just insane. 438 meters isn't high really, but if you turn that to feet and think, well, that's several thousand feet, then it's quite high. So yeah, silly for me to say it's not. I'm going to just spin you around as well and just have a look at these roads. Right, they've designed the road so your main highway, if I can zoom in, your main highway actually drives through the mountains. So there's one of the main highways there. That's a 90-kilometer highway, and then you see it goes through a tunnel into oblivion, then it pops out the other side and it carries on round. It goes back into another tunnel into oblivion, then it goes round a bit further and it pops out over there and it goes back into another tunnel. It basically drives all the way through the tunnels and it goes over there in the distance. You can see it going off over there. That's what they do with the main highway. That is a 90-kilometer, 80-kilometer road, and they basically drive through these mountains rather than going over them. But we're on a road that's going over, which is basically just following from, I think, our apartment. In fact, I'm almost positive our apartment is that one just down there, somewhere there. So we've snaked around these roads, we've come up, we've snaked around, we've gone around a bit more, we've snaked around a bit more, we've come up a little bit more, then we got to that corner there and we snaked around again, and we snaked around up to where that van's coming up there. So yeah, we're just snaking around the mountain, and we're going to head around the coast. But yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? So just a quick one. I'm just going to spin you around just before we get back in the car. I found our apartment, so I'm just going to zoom you down, and our apartment is just, you can see there's 3 white buildings, and ours is just behind that white building, those 3 white buildings, because we can see them out the back. So it's that little one just there. How cool is that? And this is what we're looking up to out of our window. Probably someone's garden, this. Yeah. Probably someone's garden.
It is.
Yeah. We found another little stop as we were driving along the road. I was taking you to an absolutely wicked little spot. Well, taking me to it, to be honest, not you. It's all for me. But yeah, on the way down, we've noticed this beach, like a little harbour area that's got some large crashing waves coming over some breakwaters. And there's also an awesome waterfall, which I suppose you could probably get closer to if we wandered over there. There's one over there on the cliff over there. And there's a little tunnel thing in the distance. But first of all, we're going to have a little nose at these crashing waves without getting in too much danger, because yeah, this ocean is rather large and doesn't really bode well playing with it. So yeah, let's see if we can get somewhere closest to get some crashing waves, and maybe do a bit of an exposure with some waves bouncing up over the top of the breakwaters. Whoa, and they're big in places, very big. Let's see what happens. So here we go, let's do a little bit of photography, shall we? The camera is out on the tripod, and I've got the breakwater up in front of me, and I'm very conscious of what's going on, because we've got two people stood down here, and the waves every so often come smashing up over the top of the side of this wall here. Hopefully, I think we're being flanked by the one that's in front of us. That one there, I think, is taking out the pressure that's coming towards us, because otherwise there's no way I'll be stood here. But every so often you are getting a wave like this, a rogue one creeping between the two that is splashing up. Look at that, whoa! We were ready for that one, my finger was on the trigger button. So yeah, basically I'm just floating my finger on the trigger button, pointing it towards that big rock. Yeah, so it come towards us. Oh, that did come towards us then. So yeah, you've got to be conscious of this, and I've got some spray coming at me as well, so I'm going to have to clean the lens every so often, so I'm going to have to put the camera down, concentrate on the photographs, and I'll pop you a few up as and when I get a couple with some big waves crashing against them. But yeah, all in all, not a bad little spot really. Semi-safe, because we're on a wash-off. We shouldn't get washed away if the water does come over the top, but you never know. Keep one eye on that water at all times. It's the 7th wave, you know it is. There's some big ones coming through now. I've got my hand on the camera ready to grab it and do a runner if I have to. This one here is another big rogue one. Jeez, they were some big. This Atlantic Ocean is ferocious. Absolutely ferocious. So one thing I tend to do when I'm shooting water like this, when I'm shooting waves and crashing waves, I vary my shutter speed a lot. So I've got the ISO up a little bit more than I normally would. I mean, I might even pop it up to 800 and get a super fast shutter speed. And then I'm at 5.6 or 6.4, which is then giving me the speed I want to get that. Whoa, look at that! The freeze in action as it comes crashing towards us. And there's another one just about to hit. Look at that, bang, and just hit that shutter button. You'd be better off with a cable release, because you can then click, 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 click. So have it on a slow, continuous shutter as well then. So it's click, 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 click. You don't have to keep your finger firing on the button. You can hold it down and just constantly get them and get that perfect moment where it hits the rock and bounces over the top. Because there's a fine line between having the rock in it in front and then having all water. The water looks great from your eye, but the rock gives it some sort of stability. So yeah, just play with your shutter speeds. So I've moved position a little bit now, come a little bit square on down the side of the breakwater. The waves are really, really cool, but I don't quite know which direction to point the camera in, which looks best. So I'm trying something a bit different now. I've put the 10 stop filter on. You can see I've got my Maven Gold one on, which is a 10 stop, and I'm just feathering the exposure a little bit, sort of 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds, just to see if I can add some of the momentum, some of the movement, and then some of the sharp bits from the faster shutter speeds, see if I can mix up. Wow, that was a massive one. That would have been good with a normal speed. But yeah, just to see if I can mix it up and have some with the waves moving, some with the waves not moving, see if it works. But yeah, it's quite cool watching them and listening to them. That's another huge one then. Having to keep wiping the lens as well is a bit of a bugger. If you're interested in these cloths, let me know. They're really, really good. Whether they're wet or dry, they still work. I'll put a link in the description for you. We're just making our way along the sea wall and what was the road. We've been keep talking about things like Marta keeps saying about how nature takes everything back and everything sort of turns back to greenery and things like that. Well, the sea also does a very, very, very good job of reclaiming everything that we've put in its path. I mean, those breakwaters over there, I'm guessing it was that big wall that's like there. That big wall used to go all the way along, and yeah, it smashed it to pieces. And most of it's probably up here, washed up here on the beach. So you can imagine how fierce and how nasty that sea can actually get to rip concrete apart like that. It's a ferocious thing, is that sea. This was probably once upon a time, this was probably a pretty cool hustling, bustling marina. There's some buildings sort of over to the side here and things like that, and old buildings down there as well, a waterfall behind it. So I'm guessing at some point this was quite a hustling, bustling sort of bit of a marina. Can you hear this noise?
I love this sound.
It stopped because I've got close. But somewhere in there's a little creature that's making whistling noises, you know, like the sound of the what? What is it? It's like the sound of the forest.
I know. No.
Sound of nature. So of course we don't know whether there's any rabid dogs in here or a wild bear or anything, but we're going to have a nose inside this old abandoned place because when on holiday in the middle of nowhere, why not, eh? Oh, amphitheatre. So this would have been a little gathering area. Even the drains are reclaiming themselves. Look at that. The drains come out the ground. Amphitheatre. Look at that waterfall up there. You see it? Look at that. Coming down off the mountain. Rather cool and interesting. You know, we like these abandoned places. We like these weird and wonderful little locations that we go to in the UK, and we're always having a nose and a look round. Look at this. This is a sink area. This would have been a little washroom and maybe a shower or a toilet. Just keeping an eye on what we're walking on. Very cool. Do love these abandoned places. Yeah, mate. All right. Let's have a look back at this way. Maybe that's a reception or something like that. She's up the top looking at the waterfall up there. Right, let's go and have a little look down in this one. A quick nose, see what we can see. Graffiti gets everywhere, doesn't it? Absolutely everywhere. Another shower room. Oh yeah. Okay. It's very basic. There's not a lot in here. Very, very basic. Not very exciting really, is it? Right, let's get up there and have a look up there at the waterfall. These lovely hotels I keep taking you to. I do like to treat you to the best.
Hey?
I do like to treat you to the best.
There's a swimming pool.
Oh, we've even got a swimming pool. Yeah. I told you you'd like it here. Okay, so we are definitely guessing then. This is obviously a swimming and bathing area. There's a big luxury swimming pool over there. And this is interesting. So these would have been floorboards on here then, wouldn't they? So this probably would have been like a changing area and like a shower wash area or something like that for rinsing off, we're guessing. And you'd have thought they've had like a cafe or a tea bar in there as well. Right, let's have a quick look at this swimming pool then. Fancy a dip? Marta's been longing to go for a swim since we've got here. And the weather's been atrocious, so she's not been able to. But now, check this out. She's in the pool, having a swim. Look, swimming in the pool, minding her own business. She's got it all to herself. Can you do the backstroke as well?
There was this sound.
This one's even got water in it. Look, you can have a proper swim in that one. That's cool though, isn't it? Look, waterfall, palm trees. This would have been a lovely little spot, wouldn't it, at once upon a time? A lovely, lovely little spot.
But you just don't know. And
There's tables and stuff in there. There's wash
no,
basins.
that's toilet.
Wash basins, yeah.
Yeah.
So my eyes are too dark to see, and there's holes in the floor, so we're not going too far in.
No, don't do that.
Or on the other side. So wash basins, showers probably, and toilets. Yeah, there would have been showers in there. Wash basins. Hello! Right, let's get out of here. So you suddenly appear in a different location. This is the one I was heading towards earlier on. It's not the actual one I wanted to go to, but this is one of the little spots I wanted to come and have a look at. This is a waterfall that drops down onto the road, but the road's now closed in this part, so it's not the one I saw on the maps, but it's definitely worth having a look. But before we do that, Marta's been sidetracked by the banana trees, which is what I'm walking beside here. These trees here are actual banana trees, and the one on the end have got a large bunch of bananas waiting to fall into the road. I'll take you back down and show you in a moment, but yeah, these are banana trees. We are now on one of the old roads, you can see leading around the sides of the cliffs, and I'm not surprised this road's closed. I've got a feeling this waterfall has taken the road out because there's not a lot of it left. Just look at the state of this. That is bonkers. We're going to get closer. So what about that then? That is something else, isn't it? That is one hell of a waterfall coming down on the old road. I think we might zip the coat up and run down behind it. What do you reckon? I reckon we should. Let's get a photograph first, see if I can get a picture of it. Compton. So I'm trying to make an interesting photo, and the last one I've just taken I think works pretty well. I've got the leading line from the wall, and I'm holding the camera up really high, which is giving me that height I need to get looking over the top of the waterfall. So I think all in all I've managed to get a picture of it, but I could do with one person in it if someone would like to go and stand in the middle of it for me, just to give me some size. But yeah, pretty cool little waterfall. So I managed to get a couple of photographs. I think I got quite a good one, but now we've definitely got to walk around the back of it to say at least we've been past it. So come on, let's go. We're going to do this. We'll go one way with you watching us, and the other way we'll take you the other way around. We're going to get a bit damp. We're not going through the middle, but we're going around the outside. And we know the Osmo just doesn't like water. Woo, she's quite powerful. Look at that. You can't probably see it that way. See if we can get a picture this side of it.
Oh, how beautiful.
And then we'll go back the other way. It looks better this side. You might have to stand in some water, but it definitely looks better from this side because you can see where it's coming from out the rocks. How amazing is that? Right, let's see if I can get on a dry spot. Over here. Right. I'm on a dry bit. Was that land? Right, land has just fallen down behind us on the rock there. There's some land just come off these mountains, so we can't stand here for much longer. I'm going to head back. I'm going to forget the photograph because there's way too much water coming out this side, but look at that. What an absolute raging gusher. We've got to make our way back. Right, I'm coming back over. Oh, come on, let's go. That's dangerous. That is dangerous. She's taking a picture. Quick, because the Osmo's getting really wet. Come on. We're getting drenched. We're going through. Woo! Okay, so my camera is now wet. We need to dry my camera out. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That's an experience to do. And yeah, we've got some damp trousers. Right, Waterfall over road. Tick that one off. I think we're done. Speak to you in a bit. We've just driven down a little bit, just down the road, literally a few hundred yards, come down to the bottom, because we drove through some pretty cool tunnels. And on my map, I've got a pin saying 2 hidden waterfalls. Now, I'm not sure, but I think we possibly drove through them as we came through. So we're going to have a little walk around this corner, just take you down with us and show you what's down there. Yeah, let's see if we can find these hidden waterfalls. There is something coming off the side of the mountain or the cliffs, but I don't know how close we can actually get to them. We'll have a look at nose, see what happens. So there are waterfalls here. Long, thin, narrow ones, but they're extremely high. They've definitely got some height to them, but you can have a little bit of a walk down the side of the old tunnel. This is definitely one of the older roads rather than a new road. And that sea down there is sounding extremely ferocious and violent. Probably because it's a pebble beach, so it's mashing up the pebbles. So we're at the bottom now where the tunnel is. This is one of the tunnels we drove through. It looks like a hamster's chewed its way through that one. Not quite as nicely laid out as the old ones. And then we're just going to make our way down to the side of this waterfall. This looks a bit like a quarry area, or are they trying to hold back the old beach or something? It doesn't look inviting, that's for sure. Oh, and he's lost his track off that tractor. That is not good at all. We decided to have a little bit of a walk into the tunnel, and as you can see, my lens is already starting to fog up a little bit, so I'm going to have to be careful about getting water and moisture on this camera because it'd be game over otherwise. So I'm going to try and keep it dry for a moment and put it in my pocket. Bear with. Whoa. Dumping ground, beds and mattresses and all sorts. Just be careful because we don't know what's down there. So it's probably not the healthiest thing to do, walk through an old dusty tunnel, but you know, needs must when the devil drives and all that. You've got to be looking and having a nose around, haven't you? And in all fairness, I could have probably driven down here and parked up at the other end, but what's the fun in that? So we're now coming out the tunnel, as you can see up the top there, and there's water coming through, cascading, and that lady up in front there, I don't know if you can see her on the blue jacket, she's run past us half a dozen times to the top of the waterfall and back down the hill again. And we are under the undercliffs between the gap between the roads, and there's another bit of a waterfall trickle for you. There you go, water off the mountains falling onto the road. Right, we're going down to the end and then we're going to walk back. Quack, quack, quack. Oh yeah, this looks like a nice danger zone to be stood in, with the tide coming over the water. Yeah, quality. This is what we live for, she's just said. Standing in... Oh yeah, oh! Jesus, that's just made me jump. I think my heart's just stopped. Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. It was an almighty gut thunder. Yeah. So, just like I say, in the danger zone. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you don't want to be out there. It's probably not a safe place to be. God, that's something else. Wow. So So we've got the camera set up now. We had to get the camera out, didn't we, of course. We're just waiting for some big waves now to come flying over the top. And then we're going to capture some of these. They are sort of semi-lazy waves, aren't they? Unbelievable. You wouldn't believe how high these waves are jumping up in front of us as they're hitting the wall. I don't even think I can go wide enough. Or I can. I can go really wide. Let's get some real wide action going on there. We've got a lovely dark grey sky as well to go with it. And a reflection, yeah, there's a reflection going on in the water in the bottom, but yeah, pretty awesome. You wouldn't want to be stood outside there when that's happening, by the way. Oh, that's a whiplasher one. Pretty good. Just watch these. Here comes a roller. This one could be a good and it's bouncing back. Oh, yeah. Woo! That is somehow, some power that is. I've been messing around now for quite a while. I've taken loads and loads and loads of photographs. I've started off with trying to get them coming over the side there, and then I've decided that the railings looked even better still on their own, so you're getting those nice sharp lines, trying to line everything up with the horizon as well. But some of these waves that are coming over here are massive, they really are, making everyone jump, and it's definitely drawing in a crowd. But yeah, I could stand here all day watching this. It is phenomenal.
Bob, how was the weather in Madeira?
Well, the weather in Madeira is fine, sunny, 38 degrees. Everyone's getting a suntan at the moment. Make sure you put your suntan cream on. I'll just carry on eating chocolate while I'm driving.
And the views are stunning.
The views, you can't see any.
Ocean on your left. There. Mountains on your right. There. Use your imagination.
Well, I'm at another location. I'm here again. I've got a little bit further down the coast. I've just been in a little cafe on my left-hand side here for a cup of coffee, and the waves are just bashing goodness out of this side of the coast. You can't get any further closer to the waves than what I am now, because they've cornered it off, but this Atlantic Ocean is definitely playing fierceness again today. All day it's just raging and raging and raging. So I've put the camera out on a little tripod. I'm waiting for some big, huge crashing waves. I want to try and get some of these monstrous ones, like the one that's coming in now. Let me just flick you around so you can see what's going on. That's what's going on in front of us. You're getting these big waves coming along, bashing against that breakwater and causing these huge, huge, huge cascading waves over the top. And they are really, really big waves that are coming in. So I'm just trying to literally capture some movement. Super high shutter speed. I'm at f5.6. ISO's at 800. Give me a 1600th of a second. It really is a case of trying to catch all these little water droplets. And I'm just enjoying myself watching the waves. There's not much else we can do, because every time we go up in the mountains, the view just starts to disappear. But it is given to brighten up later on. So I expect I'll start another video with a slightly different attitude to Madeira, but at the moment it's all about the sea, the waves, and just watching and enjoying this action going on. Wow, these are huge.
The other side, a little bit of a waterfall there, we cannot get into it.
As you can see, we've been playing here for the last half an hour or so, and the sky's turned from miserable to very blue. So my change in my head is thinking I need to go up into the mountains to have a look and see if there's any views going on up there. And if nothing else, just to have a drive through the countryside without it being raining, so we can actually see some of these mountains and some of these sheer cliff drops and faces and stuff like that. So I'm going to end this video here because I think you've had enough of me waffling along and driving around doing nothing
But then
aimlessly.
there was a video of 1001 wave.
1001 waves? Yeah, there probably was. So yeah, I'm just going to end it here. I'm going to say adios. I'm going to say see you later, see you soon. And I'm definitely going up into those mountains and those hills and stuff up there because the sky is looking very, very blue. So if nothing else, if we don't get anything, we are going to get some pretty looking vistas and some scenery. And I think we deserve it after having 2 days of rain and storms and wind. So
And cancellations.
yeah, definitely. Adios. And
Obrigado. Adios.
drop us a comment, let us know what you think of this video. Was it really worth it or was it not? I think I got a couple of good photos.
I think
but yeah,
there are a couple of good
come on, we need to go.
stunners.
See you in a bit.
later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.